Hello, BookTube again. I wanted to pause the recording from that previous video, but apparently I'm making two different videos because my editing skills suck. But anyway, this is the Scholar Gentleman, and since I'm kind of in the middle of still reading a book, and I can't tell you about The Spread just yet, the name of the book, I thought I'd pull out one of my favorite books that I've read more than once. It's called The Time Ships. Now, if you saw just the video that I just did like about 3 seconds ago, you see I have a time travel shelf up there with lots of little Marty McFly and Doc Brown Funko Pops all over it. And you'll see that, yeah, got Quantum Leap up there. We've got all kinds of time travel anthologies. And just something I've been obsessed with ever since I was a kid. Don't know why. I think it was because my grandmother... Okay, I'm recording good. My grandmother had an egg timer, and I remember flipping it over as a kid and just being really, really fascinated with how the sand would come down. And apparently it marks, 3-minute egg timers to time the eggs boiling. But I was just so fascinated about how this massive sand through one tiny little stream filled up at the bottom. And that's pretty much the best metaphor brought to physical life about how time actually feels for us. It's like, a watched pot never boils, but that's how time works. When you first turn the egg timer and the hourglass over, the little trickle of sand, it doesn't mean like much. It's just a tiny little pile of sand over there, a little tiny pile. So that's kind of boring. I'm just going to go and do something else. Then you come back and it's halfway empty. It didn't seem like a half an hour, but it was a half an hour. And that's how time works. Time is subjective. Time is goes according to our perception of it. But I digress. This is The Time Ships by Stephen Baxter. And I got this at, I believe it was Waterstones in Glasgow, if I'm not mistaken. I'd already read the book back in the 90s and just loved it. I mean, it's such a fun ride because it's the only official sequel approved by the Wells estate of The Time Machine, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. In fact, it picks up exactly where the original novel leaves off, except it incorporates the centuries of technological advances since the original book was published. So you have the time traveler, gathering all of his things from his lab in London and going back to the future to meet Weena. Weena, that's her name. And to help her against the Morlocks and everything like that. But when he gets to the future, it's not the same future that he left. Instead of finding, a pastoral field with a gigantic wall with the Morlocks hiding underground and Weena's peace-loving people just kind of hanging out sheep-like, waiting to get picked off by the Morlocks for food, instead he comes to a Dyson sphere that's been built around the Earth's sun, built by the Morlocks. And from that point on, his time travel adventure begins. His new time travel adventure begins. And it leads him into one timeline after another. And it was, to be honest, this is the first book that introduced the concept that there's no such thing as one timeline. If you go back and make a change in this timeline, you create a focal point and another timeline branches off. And now you're part of that timeline instead. And I guess the big trick of it was getting back to his original timeline. And if you read this book, you'll get sucked in like I would, because it's written in the same old Victorian style as the original book was. A Morlock is a main character in it. Lots of cool, even H.G. Wells makes a cameo appearance in it. And one of my most memorable scenes is when the time traveler visits a younger version of himself. And of course, now things are real. He's starting to figure it out here. He's like, wait a minute. I'm meeting myself when I'm younger, so how come I don't remember this? That's your second major hint that time is not necessarily a linear thing. It's more of a tree than a flowing river with branches. I don't know how the many worlds theory and time theory, I don't know if they're compatible with the quantum, with quantum physics and all. But anyway, this book is just a fun ride. It introduces some concepts too, and what really sold me on this book was the infinity symbol on it. And yeah, it was just a fun to read. And one of my subscribers who I have over for my other channel, the Gentleman Scholar, um, I recommended this book over there because on that one it's mainly a pipe smoking channel, but I named myself the Gentleman Scholar because I wanted to do stuff like books and movies and stuff like that. So I remember reviewing this book after I'd read it again last year, and got someone else to read it, and they loved it. And that's what this is all about: talking about books, putting new ideas in your head. Go explore, check out a bookstore, um, disappear down the rabbit hole, read, enjoy the read. Um, my current read right now, The Spread, like Ian Rob Wright. I believe that's his name. I can't remember his name. I'll do a full. I'm not going to call it a review. I'll call it an impression. I'll give you my full impression of that when I'm done. It consists of 6 books. I'm in the middle of the 5th one, and I might take a break between 5th and 6th because it's a long book. I mean, like the Green Mile, the small little novellas combined to make one huge book. Sometimes you just want to change a flavor, during a commercial break because it's like I said, 6 episodes. It's like a 6-episode story, long episodes. But anyway, I'd like to thank Paul Mars for his inspiration in getting this channel off the ground. I'd also like to thank Cams Campbell Reads, and I'm really excited about this book adventure. In this room, just as a little off thing here, in this room I've got these empty boxes here. So when I go through these boxes here, all 4 of them full of comics, I have to weed out some because I don't feel like getting back in the same jam I was in before, where I had to lug around 30 boxes every time I moved, and they start getting hard to store. So, all right, folks, take care of yourselves. Happy reading, and go time traveling. Take care.